Welcome, everyone, to our Take Charge of Your Life discussions. Our focus really here is self-mastery and living an abundant life while living into our fullest potential. I am Roberta, and I'm a holistic health practitioner with Wake Up to Life Wellness, and I work with people who are ready to transform in mind, body, and soul, and are really tired of living that quiet life of desperation. And so this is my co-host, Tish.
Hi, I'm Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. Is my business, and I am a mindset trainer and personal transformation guide, passionate about helping people realize what your real potential is and give you actionable tools in order to make changes not only in your lives, but have that snowball effect into those of your community and the lives of your children for generations to come.
Awesome. So I just want to introduce our mentor, Peter Sage, who is the author of our work that we are sharing with people, the Elite Mentorship Forum. He is a human behavior expert, and he's very advanced in the area of leadership and world-class customer service and motivation. He's spoken in 62 countries on 5 continents and is frequently asked to do keynotes and workshops inspiring people across the globe. At this point, over 50 million people have heard his message. And really, his mission is to provide us with mindset mastery and tools for personal growth and success, which empowers us to then achieve our highest potential. So the structure of our call is in the framework of the mind, body, and soul. So we're going to talk about the video that we're going to share of Peter's that Tish will introduce, and then we're going to break it down into the structure of living empowered, which is the mindset piece, living healthy, which is the physical body connection to this work, and then live free in the soul realm. So I'll let Tish introduce the video.
Awesome. So in case you have missed it, this is actually our 5th video in this series. We've talked already and gave an introduction. If you missed it, we will encourage you to kind of go back. We're talking about archetypes over the last few weeks, and we've covered already the sovereign, the warrior, the magician, and this week we're talking about the lover. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a video by our mentor Peter Sage on the lover archetype specifically. It's about presence, acceptance, and unconditional love. This essentially is the foundation of our personality type that seeks to care for others, to connect, and really feel that unity that we have with virtually everything around us. So I will play that.
In the previous videos, we've covered 3 of the 4 archetypes from Jung: the warrior, the sovereign, and the magician. But the 4th archetype requires special mention, and that is the lover. Now, why does it require special mention? Because really, it's what the other 3 archetypes are ultimately seeking. The lover is all about connection. It's about being able to have unification. It's ultimately leading to the destination of oneness or enlightenment, where everything really boils down to unconditional love. The warning with the lover is that if you are seeking love from a place of emptiness, i.e. you are conflict averse, your warrior is in the toilet, you just want everyone to get along, your governance and sovereignty is weak, then you can never be able to have that level of presence that really gives unconditional love and non-judgment to everybody else. But the lover ultimately is where the final end game is at.
I smile when I listen to these archetypes, right? Because I can see myself in all of them so completely. But the lover archetype definitely is my dominant one. And it is a phenomenal journey to understand that dynamic. In fact, that's what drew me to Peter in the first place, was his message around, one of his messages around unconditional love, and something I've been seeking within myself to mature in for decades, really. I guess I didn't know about the archetypes back then, but now I realize why that's always been such a central, drive of mine, or just something that I think about and that I sit with a lot. So when I think of the mindset of living empowered in the lover archetype, like Peter shared, it's the pathway to oneness and unity. But I think of the mind in the imbalance version, like I tend to want to judge and analyze, very much an analyzer, and wanting to critique maybe, or just always trying to figure things out and wondering where I'm at in that equation or that position. So that unconditional love means letting go of that tight grip of control and not wanting to judge other people, not seeing them through eyes of duality, like they're different than me, or they're above me or below me, or anything like that, but just in that unity. And it's amazing how challenging that is. I think we're all taught, that duality very young in our culture, in our politics, and different areas of life. And it's kind of hard to comprehend almost with the mind that I can let go of that dynamic and really see people, through the eyes of love and through the eyes of source or God. And that's been a fascinating journey for me in this equation here with trying to mature the lover archetype and letting go of all that judgment of other people.
It's freeing almost, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the soul. But in oftentimes I found, as I was sort of analyzing myself and my characteristics against these archetypes and what we were learning about these personalities, specifically love, is that a lot of the times what looked to be judgment on somebody else was actually judgment of myself, of like, well, they must not think that I'm worthy enough because they're not acting the way I thought they would act, or they didn't react this way, or they're not paying attention to me. And a lot of that kind of like self-love that you realize you can give yourself, and then everything else kind of goes away. That was the big like aha moment of, realizing we're all human in who we are and on these journeys and trying to figure life out and seeking things like love and connection. So there really isn't any room or need for judgment, especially when we kind of focus inwards onto ourselves in our own self-worth.
That is so true for me too. I'm glad you brought that up. Just always with this deep work that we do and really looking into the mirror and deconstructing why we do what we do, I look back and I realize that every time I have been judging someone else, I'm always judging myself first. And that is such a key factor, because as I then focus on me and not changing anyone else, right, I can change myself and I can just reconstruct my view and my psychology around how I see people. And that changes everything. Nobody has to change, because then I have changed and I'm good with everything. And I think of, the Bible has said, one of the scriptures is to see the best in other people, right? Trying to think exactly how it says it. Love is always ready to believe the best in others. And I remember thinking, some people do some pretty horrible things. And I had a really hard time with with that contrast and seeing that good in other people, no matter how much it feels hurtful in their presence or some of their behaviors. And I think, I've really gotten more into that as I love myself more and really get honest and take that time and that quietness and that presence to lean into my own self-love. I truly can see that in people, even that have done horrific things. There's a sense of compassion and understanding that they're created just like I am. Their journey led them on different, certain experiences. But if I had gone through their same experiences, I could have done the same thing, no matter what it was. So that love is such a beautiful thing, especially in our culture and our times now. If we can come forth with that energy, it makes a big difference, and people can sense that love energy.
Knowing that we are all connected, and if you feel separated, like you're not seeking any kind of connection, then there's something, your lover archetype isn't strong enough, or you've repressed it a little bit too much. You've been hurt, and so you put up your walls, because we really are meant to be this community, and lift each other in this connected unconditionalness of what love truly is. Like Peter says at the end, that it's our end game. It's what we're all actually looking for.
Yeah, you think about all the songs that are written, so many of them, majority of them are about love. And I think that the tricky part for this is that we think that the love is outside of us and that we can seek it outside of us and someone else can fill that space. And that true, I guess, freedom in my mind came from knowing that that's just not the truth, really. That's not how it works. Like, I give out of my overflow, not out of what I can get from someone else. And when I can do that, wow, everything in the universe truly shifts and changes, because now I'm not approaching people with a horse trade or a manipulation, or if you do this, then I'll do that, or just there's so much more higher level freedom in that. So that's exciting.
That was a huge mindset shift for me too. That horse trading, I was going to say this is sort of the same thing when you do something and then you expect something back, and then you realize, wait a minute, I'm trying to trade something, which is not fair. This is like a thing that I've set up in my own mind. The other person may not have agreed to. If you're going to love on others, it's for free.
Yeah, and if I'm not trying to collect anything, nobody can take anything from me. Even if they leave and take their love with them, they can't take my level of love that I have for myself. So they really can't take away my life or the way I view the world or even my joy in the world if I have a full cup. So that's super empowering. I'm always seeking those empowering places that just make me feel so much more, sovereign in myself. And that way I can love people instead of trying to figure everything out and manipulate an outcome. So that's awesome. So the tip for the lover is to practice, pause and presence. So I think it's hard to find or know or even connect with that love within myself if I don't know how to get quiet. Because then I am truly focusing outside of myself to fill up my empty spaces. And so getting quiet, getting honest, saying, when I'm judging someone, when I heard someone say one time, at the end of the day, write down, or even during the day, write down all the judgments that come up into your mind just to get some kind of references to how many times the mind automatically judges. And I thought that's really a great idea. But just having that awareness of that judgment, then I can intercept it. And the question would be, how would love see this? And this isn't the love where we just ignore horrible behavior and keep tolerating it. This is a love that I'm just choosing to look at from my perspective, into someone else's life. That doesn't mean I don't need to put up boundaries and all that, and keep myself safe and in a good movie, so to speak, that I'm not letting in other people into my movie that are going to, really bring down my whole being and my whole way of being into a negative place. So
talking about boundaries and what you kind of put up with and stuff is a great sort of interlude into our next section here, where we talk about the body and living healthy. The lover energy thrives when the body is cared for. So it's an act of self-love to care for yourself, as well as, set up boundaries for yourself about what's okay in your physical presence and what isn't, what you will put up with and what you won't. And a a balanced lover is driven to choices guided towards, nourishment and rest, movement, things that honor their physical body, because, all those things we talk about in mindset become almost impossible if we haven't taken care of our physical body first, brain fog and all of those other things. And they talk now, there's a lot of talk out there about self-care, even, from a parental standpoint, where sometimes, mothers especially, or parents, can get into, unbalanced sort of lover energy where you're over giving to those around you, you're neglecting your own needs. And that's not what is meant by this. It's important to still take care of yourself and realize that you can give to others from your overflow, like Roberta is saying. And there's lots of messaging out there talking about, if I'm my strongest self and I have loved and taken care of myself, then I can give so much more to the outside world, and it's worth so much more value than that. It's not selfish to take care of myself. It's a way for us to give better, healthier.
yeah, I love that, because I was thinking too that love isn't a weak energy. It's a powerful energy. It's very, very powerful. And I don't know, for most of my life, I had this sense that if you love people, you're just kind of, passive and you're quiet and you're, tolerant to the extreme. And that's not at all what I see love as now. Love wants me to be empowered and strong. And if I can take care of myself, like Tish is saying, then I can do everything in my life, that I've been called here to do. And so just really, I have had to really flip my mindset around that energy of love, because that's how I was raised in a people-pleasing, codependent environment. And so that was my programming. And to realize that sometimes love is saying no, many times, sometimes it's holding someone accountable and not enabling them and doing that tough love. And really, yeah, just carving out that space that says, this is me, this is my version of the world, and this is what I need to do to continue my path, whatever that is. And if people truly love us, they'll align and support that. And if they don't, then I feel like it's just, a way to realize that I'm at a different place and I can attract those people that are going to support my journey. It's not about, trying to pull people in and keep them there.
Beautiful. When we're healthy, when I think about like sustaining health and taking care of our selves, then we need to think about this too, just to kind of overlap our mindset piece of like active demotion. It's not punishment that we have to go to the gym. or I should, eat my vegetables. And then, we kind of sit there begrudgingly. It becomes sustainable and so much more an act of joy when we consider it blessing ourselves, an act of love for ourselves. I'm giving myself what I need to function fully and so that I can love others from an overflow. In all honesty, this is how I started eating vegetables and being healthier. As a young person coming out of university, loved French fries and ate almost nothing good for me. It was when I had children, out of love for them, that I knew that not only when I was pregnant, but after that, I needed to change my habits to be able to take care of myself so that I can function, but also be able to, role model and be a teacher to them of the same things, that, food is fuel, and it's about caring for ourselves so that we can do the other tasks that we need to do within a day or that we'd like to do.
Yeah, without loving the self in the physical realm, there's so much. Yeah, I think most disease and illness and breakdown comes from that specifically. If we're not taking care of ourselves from a heart level and a mind level, really, all that stress and trauma that is created around that for decades is super debilitating, right? It's going to destroy our health, because stress is, the greatest thing that breaks it down. So yeah, being able to love ourselves, have boundaries, and then make those choices to, if we love ourselves, we will want to take care of our physical health. I've discovered it's not like something I have to work at. It's like something like you said, that we want to do, because that's just the natural outcome of loving the self.
Mm-hmm. It speaks to even, as we age and stuff, like wanting to love on my grandchildren and be there for them, to be able to, be active and, not be stuck, unable to move and unable to, stay up late or keep up with them, even as I age. So all of those things, you can kind of see that real connectedness of how, loving myself leads to me, my ability to love on others as well. So our tip for this section is that think of self-love, right? Specifically of your physical body. Want to or encourage you to pick a category where maybe you've been neglecting your self-love, and put it in your calendar. Schedule it like it's a meeting, like it is a non-negotiable, and keep that boundary and know that, this is about loving yourself and it's important. So whatever that looks like for you, it could be meal planning, finding healthier recipes. You set a date every Sunday night that this is what I do, or as simple as your movement, your walks, and then protect that time, like we said, as a non-negotiable. This is my, self-love time. So we don't let others, make us feel guilty or anything like that for it, or let other things crowd your agenda instead of taking care of yourself, because being run down isn't how we love on others either. We can't give from empty tanks.
Beautiful. So as we move on into the live free in the soul realm, I think about the, overflowing from the wholeness of who we are, like we've been elaborating on. That true love flows from overflow, not depletion, right? That's kind of been our common theme here today. And that, oneness with source energy or God is love. I think of God as love, and I am love, right, in my essence. So it's not something I have to collect outside of me. It's something I am. And when I have that energy and that essence of love, it's something I can't fake or pretend or, try to put on a show, or, it's either there or it isn't there, I've discovered. And people are energetically attracted to that loving energy. Even animals, people say that people that walk in a high level of unconditional love, animals are attracted to them, and even plants can grow better in that atmosphere of the energy of unconditional love. So that's just a huge aspiration. And just, it's of course it feels great, right? When we're around people who are living at a higher level of unconditional love. They're trustworthy. They're not looking to get something. They're not manipulative, right? Which is things that all of our souls crave, is to have that trustworthy connection of someone who has our back, and they're not, keeping score. And if we succeed, they're not going to be jealous and walk away. We're going to have a higher level of unity and realize and value connection. So that's what I think about when I think of a soul level.
We have lots of examples of this, and how you know, you can see how it brings that unity and connectedness. People are drawn to those, like Peter said, it's really, this is the ultimate goal, right? If we can completely embody self-love and, you know, loving unconditionally on others, as we're talking about, then, you know, people like Gandhi that kind of get that, or Mother Teresa, you can see that as, you know, examples of people that have fully embraced this holiness, really, and, you know, wholesome of, you know, what we're meant to be here in the world and how connected we are to so many things. It's so powerful. I'm kind of getting like passionate. I can feel the energy in my body just talking about it. It is incredible, and definitely the ultimate goal for all of us.
You know, I used to think that walking in that kind of love seemed impossible, you know, when there was so much chaos in my mind over the years and so much hurt. Um, it was like I would try, but then I'd always default to judgment, right? Or resistance or rejecting somebody or putting up walls or something, right? When there's a lot of dysfunction and woundedness in our life. And to know that I can walk, that I've been able to walk out of that old pattern and mindset and way of being and really see this more clearly and getting closer to that place of maybe eldership, we call it, or sovereignty, where we're really mature enough in most situations to use love, or to at least try tap into that and ask that question, like we talked about in the mindset, you know, what would love do? So knowing now that as I align more with the energy of love, I love life better. There's not all this conflict and division inside of me, and it just has a whole different level of joy and purpose and passion, I guess. Because yeah, I'm not fighting all the negative things that were against love before. So that's really amazing.
Start to see it more in things like nature and the beauty of, you know, just how perfectly our world is molded together energetically when we, you know, look through the eyes of, you know, a soulful lover, through our innermost energy and basic need of just things like the sunset, or, you know, birds, even like little insects, and just how incredible some of those things can be all around us if we're looking for it.
And I remember talking with someone as I was working on recovery, and they were saying, you know, how a family member felt distant and, you know, wasn't connecting. And I said, you know, it just came out of my mouth, when we become love and they feel safe around us, you know, they'll feel that energy of love. So I've done enough of my inner work where I am truly showing up as the unoffended, maybe person now, you know, and my kids or whoever feel safe around that energy and can see who I truly am because I'm showing that depth of who I am, then they will be drawn to me, you know, automatically, or, you know, without me having to try to coerce or have any struggle around that. I can just let it go until I've changed enough where, you know, people are drawn to me. So that's been huge too, because as a people pleaser, I was always trying to, you know, get people to be in my space and wanting that connection. And now just allowing things to naturally happen has just made life so much richer. You know, I don't have to do anything other than work on loving, you know, myself and others. It becomes a very simple focus in life.
That's such an important point where we forget, because we're seeking things on the outside, like what can I do, how can I make this person, you know, connect with me, when the secret to almost every one of our lessons is it's on the inside, it's not on the outside. So by, you know, taking care of ourselves internally, doing the work so that we can exude that energy out of us is the key, even though it kind of feels counterintuitive.
Yeah, and with that comes total empowerment, because I don't need anything outside of me, you know, to change my life or to make it different. Then really then I have all the energy and ability to focus on what really matters in, you know, as far as my contribution, how I want to, you know, leave a legacy. I can focus on all that instead of all the chaos of relationship upset. So that's been huge for me. That's changed my entire existence, literally. So the tip in the soul realm is to begin or end your day with a short stillness practice, kind of that sitting quiet again, getting present, and then affirming that I am love, I am connected, and I am whole. And it's not that we have to figure out how to love people. I just have to realize that I am love. And yeah, if I can let go of that judgment and that resistance in my mind and that trying to look outside of myself, then that naturally rises, because my natural state is love.
Beautiful. So, as we bring our discussion to a close, I'll summarize a little bit for you. In our mindset piece, Live Empowered, we talked about how the lover mindset is about removing judgment, leaning into the fact that we are all connected, and reminding us to focus on our similarities, pause, and look at others through the eyes of love versus judgment. In our Live Healthy and Physical Body aspect of our discussion, we talked about how the lover is a caregiver, not only for others, but also, so importantly, for yourself. That a balanced lover prioritizes their own self-care, knowing that when they are fully taken care of, they can then love others more fully, more completely. And lastly, in the soul realm that we just wrapped up, a reminder that we are all part of one connected source of unconditional love. When we truly love ourselves, we no longer seek love or validation from outside, but instead easily love on others from our overflow.
Well, that's a beautiful expression of the lover archetype, and it's just touching the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to learn about the imbalanced or the balanced version of the lover, right? The dark and the light side of all of us, and how to really dive into this and become that healthy, whole version of ourselves. So, with the Elite Mentorship Forum, which we invite you to join us in, it's where we really cultivate that self-mastery in all these areas, and where love and unity and enlightenment become the guiding forces in our lives. So we're not constantly fractured or feeling, disjointed and scattered and chaotic, but we come into this alignment with who we really are, and knowing that we have a community that's committed to helping us transform and walking to that degree with us until we become that version of ourselves is the best thing really that I've ever done, is invested in this work with Peter Sage.
We both have cohorts coming up and are looking for students. So if you're interested, please reach out to us. You do get a free, I call them curiosity calls, with either one of us in order to ask your questions and find out more information to see if this is, truly for you when you're ready to step up and invest in yourself. But spaces are limited, so we encourage you to reach out sooner than later and, love on yourself. This is the best sort of love, learning this material that we have here for this program. So lastly, we will leave you with a quote from a 13th century poet, Rumi, who said that love is the bridge between you and everything.
Perfect quote there. So yes, we want to thank you all today. And if you got some value out of this, we'd love you to like and subscribe, and also to share this with someone else to help us, share the work that we're doing.
And we hope to see you on our next call.